All the single ladies are empowered and owning it. That's right. More single women are buying homes than single men. I'll show you how they're making it happen. 1,900 low-income people may not be getting the lift up that they were hoping for as the Attorney General sues to stop the $500 a month Uplift Harris giveaway. What do you think about this remote work? Hostesses in restaurants seating you from a virtual live screen, and you can even see the same hostess in more than one restaurant. And it is a new chapter in savings for college students, how the University of Houston and other colleges are knocking hundreds off the cost of books every term. And welcome to Dollars and Cents. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Now, although U.S. women still trail men in pay on average, single women are now buying more homes on their own than single men. 60 years ago, women couldn't even get a mortgage without a male cosigner. Today, single women own 2.7 million more homes than single men.
Hey, how are you? Wonderful. So good to see you.
Welcome home. Lacey Lugo is proud to show off the house she just bought by herself.
Did you ever think you would do this?
No.
How does it feel?
Empowering. To know that financially and physically it was going to be something that I could do 100% on my own, it was a no-brainer.
A single mother, Lugo wanted a stable home for her family.
I believe that as a mother, financial and physical stability for your children is extremely important. Being able to give them a place to grow.
And to build equity and invest in their future. The National Association of Realtors reports a home bought in 2011 accumulated an average of $225,000 in housing wealth by 2021. While the majority of homes in the U.S. are purchased by couples, more single women are buying homes than single men, despite that women earn an average of 82 cents to every dollar that a man earns, according to the Pew Research Center. U.S. Census data shows single men own 8.1 million homes, single women 10.7 million.
And so you'll see women sit down with a financial advisor, and what does that look like to buy a home? Like, what do I need for a down payment? How long do I need? What kind of reserves do I need? What is my monthly payment going to be? And then they'll get into a system where they're budgeting and they're saving because they're going to make this happen. They're going to make a plan and they're going to make it happen.
The purchase can be made easier for many buyers, male, female, or couples, because a 20% down payment is not required for some home loans.
Let's get in a home now at 3% down, 3.5%. You've got some money in reserves and now you've got an asset. And that's what people need to do in order to build wealth for their family.
But can provide a 100% brighter future.
It feels very bright, like capable of doing anything that I set my mind to and being able to enjoy the fruits of my labor at the same time.
And there are a number of resources to help first-time home buyers, including down payment assistance through the City of Houston, Harris County, local housing authorities, the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, and the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. So I put links to all of these programs for you. They're all on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. Now, with interest rates as high as they are, you're probably wondering, how are folks doing this? So here are some ways that some home buyers are managing a home purchase right now, according to NerdWallet. They're using a temporary mortgage rate buy down. They're using part of a down payment to pay off other debt so they don't have to keep paying both bills. They're using home buyer assistance programs, asking sellers to finance the purchase at a lower rate, and they're also buying lower cost fixer-uppers. So talk to a mortgage broker and a realtor, see what's possible. Now, another roadblock for millennials that are hoping to buy a home, according to Bankrate, the average salary needed to afford a new home is now more than $110,000. Back in 2020, it was $76,000. That's a big jump. The U.S. Census Bureau says the average millennial salary is just over $47,000. And if you're not really ready to buy a home yet, a recent report by Realtor.com found renting is cheaper than buying a home in all of America's largest metro areas. Data shows elevated interest rates have made mortgages less affordable. And the amount of money that people think they need to retire has hit a record high. A new survey says that people do not feel comfortable enough to retire unless they have nearly $1.5 million saved up. That's 15% more than what they were saying last year, and it is a huge leap from 2020 when the total was $950,000. Well, the 1,900 low-income people who are hoping to start getting $500 a month from the Uplift Harris program may not be getting it now. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed suit to stop the program. Paxton argues that giving individuals the $20 million from the 2021 American Rescue Plan Act is violating the Texas Constitution and that the money must be used for the public interest. This month, the Uplift Harris program was set to begin sending out checks for $500 a month in a guaranteed income program aimed at lifting people out of poverty. Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo responded, saying Uplift Harris is not illegal under state law and that two similar programs already happened in San Antonio and Austin. Harris County Attorney Christian Menefee plans to fight this case. He says the first of two hearings on this suit will happen this week, but he expects it to go all the way to the state Supreme Court, and we will keep you posted on what happens. Okay, if you shopped at Walmart in the last 6 years, you may be eligible for a chunk of a new class action settlement. The retail giant is agreeing to pay out $45 million to resolve a suit alleging deceptive business practices. So here's how to know if you qualify. Anyone who purchased weighted goods, that means items that you paid for by the pound, like meat, seafood, or bags of oranges, between October of 2018 and January 19th of this year, you can get a partial refund totaling up to $500. You can file your claim online until June 5th. And you're probably starting to realize that your monthly subscriptions that were supposed to save you money are really starting to add up. So how would you like just to click to cancel some of them? Well, some people say they are tired of paying for unwanted subscriptions, but they aren't quite sure how to cancel them. Consumer Reports advises using a finance tracking tool such as Rocket Money to find and cancel subscriptions that you no longer use. One woman says money comes out of her account every month for online subscriptions that she no longer uses.
From Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Peacock. I have a editing software, Linktree to all my social media accounts. I know I pay for things I don't use. I'd love to have something warn me.
Yeah, well, last year the FTC proposed a click to cancel provision that would require companies to let you cancel subscriptions as easily as you were able to sign up. That would be nice. Now, the U.S. has a shortage of 650,000 skilled tradespeople, and it's causing backlogs in construction. So to help fill those positions, more companies are actively recruiting women to consider careers once dominated by men. These are highly paid positions that don't require a college degree. And we talked with some women in the industry to find out what you need to know. Each woman has a story.
You changed the history in general of a woman to be having a position as a safety manager. Is amazing.
That led her to work in the skilled trades.
I just fell in love with construction.
Industries once dominated by men.
42 years ago, there wasn't an option where I was going to change, where I was going to go to the restroom.
But more companies are now actively recruiting more women to help fill vacant, highly paid jobs in construction, oil and gas, or as machinists, electricians, plumbers, mechanics.
It's much more accessible for women in our industry. We have women running plants. I used to run a plant. I've built plants now.
Labor Department data shows 10.8% of construction workers in 2023 were women.
And women more and more are taking a look at this industry and finding places that they fit because they also love the outdoors, or they love number crunching, and boy do we need people in finance, or they're fantastic at IT.
You can go from 60,000 to 80,000, 85,000, and then up from there, depending on the craft, depending on the amount of hours.
Jobs that often don't require a college education or the college debt. Skills come instead from training and apprenticeships.
And along the way, education is going to help you go further. But for starting off and getting started, you do not need a 4-year degree.
There's nothing I can't take and say I can't do it. It's all mental for me. I just do it.
Just do it. Women interested in jobs in skilled trades can contact Galveston College or any of the other local colleges have programs as well. I put links to all of them for you on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. If you do go into it, let me know. I want to know how it goes. So is tipping out of control? Do you feel kind of guilted into tipping sometimes? A new survey finds most Americans say, yeah, I do. Well, analysts say even though the pressure to tip has increased over the past few years, consumers are becoming more comfortable with saying no. According to the study by Wallet Hub, how much you tip depends on the day. Customers are the most generous on Thursdays, and they are the stingiest on Sundays. Interesting. So now here is a talker. Remote work may be reaching a new level as some restaurants in New York City are beginning to use hosts and hostesses to seat guests that operate live via Zoom. Is this the direction that we're headed? Fox's Arthur Chian has a story.
On the busy corner of Crescent Street and 41st Avenue in Long Island City sits a cluster of restaurants, including most notably San San Ramen. In the news, not for its food, but for an interesting personnel decision.
Hey, you can go inside.
When you walk into this restaurant, instead of being greeted by a hostess in person, you're greeted by a hostess, only live via Zoom. Set to be in the Philippines, the age of outsourcing continues.
I think it's a little weird.
When I go to a restaurant, I prefer like human servant.
And who says you can't be in two places at one time? We noticed the same remote, polite hostess on the screen at the chicken place next door, sometimes saying hello to people walking by.
I assume it's by the sound. She can sense people walking by and she will say hello.
And then local resident Eric pointed out to us Yasso Kitchen around the corner and down Crescent is also using the same technology. There is no one behind the counter there at all, just you and the Zoom.
I prefer real people to face-to-face to me to make my order.
As of January 1st, minimum wage in New York City was raised to $16 an hour. And looking at this, some point out that in the Philippines, minimum wage hovers below $4 an hour.
While we do not know if the Zoom employees work for an agency or exactly what they're being paid, some say restaurants must be using this new system to save money.
Definitely think New York is more costly for live here, so she's working remote.
Fox 5 has reached out to the restaurant and is waiting to hear back. In the meantime, perhaps there's comfort that the kitchen is still manned by humans, at least for now. In Long Island City, Arthur Chian, Fox 5 News.
Wow, let's hope so. All right, you pay more at places like the gas station when you use a credit card instead of cash, right? So Visa and MasterCard have agreed to a settlement over fees that could save you some money after a lawsuit from nearly 20 years ago. The lawsuit said that stores had to pay excessive fees to accept these cards. Now Visa and MasterCard will cap those fees through the year 2030, and they'll let small businesses negotiate their fees. The settlement must be approved by a judge. In their continuing effort to cut down on junk fees, the Biden administration ordered that late credit card fees be capped at $8. That is a big drop from the average of $32, and it is expected to save people an average of $220 a year. So Fox's Dana Fowle breaks down what this will mean.
Okay, I think it's safe to say or even admit that every one of us from time to time has missed a credit card payment. I think we've all done it, maybe, except for my mom. Maybe you didn't have the money yet. That happens, or simply you lost track of time. It happens, but the mistake has traditionally been pretty costly. Credit card late fees cost Americans $14 billion every single year. Well, this month, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau announced it's cutting those fees for large credit card issuers. Smaller groups are not included. The math is pretty impressive. According to the Bureau, the average late fee drops to $8. That's down from an average of $32 per late payment. This is an average savings of $220 a year for more than 45 million Americans. Overall, this is going to save Americans in general $10 billion a year. The CFPB's director says the credit card industry has been exploiting a loophole. The Bureau said in a press release that the industry was building a business model on penalties, fee harvesting, and bait and switch tactics. These high dollar fees were supposed to be banned in the 2009 Card Act. A card issuer could only charge what it cost to do business, nothing more. But the industry, according to the federal government, started adjusting for inflation, raising the cost higher and higher despite using cheaper digital business processes. But the industry is pushing back over this $8 fee, calling it unreasonable and saying what this is going to do is take away the deterrent for being late. But the President Biden, back in 2023 in the State of the Union address, said he was going to tackle this, all of these late fees and what he called abusive fees, saying that this was dragging down the average American and their budget. Now, will it happen or will it not? Well, as soon as the rule officially hits the Federal Register, then the industry will have a few short months to adjust. Right now, it is a go unless a judge steps in. We'll keep you updated.
All right, thanks, Tina. Well, a new FAFSA issue could further delay financial aid for some students. The problem involves tax data transferred from the IRS. Colleges may have received inaccurate information about families' finances when forms were initially submitted to the Department of Education. This impacts about 20% of aid applicants, about 1 million prospective students. But here's some good news. The price of textbooks is often a major expense for college students after paying all that tuition. So the University of Houston rolled out a new program this year that it says has saved students more than $10 million just this year on books. More colleges are tapping into ways to make textbooks available digitally at a much lower cost. So here's a look at how it works.
University of Houston student Christian Avalos says textbooks used to cost him about $800 a semester until now.
With the program, reducing that cost to $300-ish would save me so much money in advance and make it so convenient.
For that flat $300, the Cougar Textbook Access Program provides all UH undergrads their books, 90% digitally on their online class platforms, and 10% they can pick up in the bookstore before class even starts.
That money allowed me to save it up for the next semester or for other expenses. I'm also a commuter.
Students are billed $299 per semester and $180 for summer term, no matter how many credit hours they're taking. UH says they can easily opt out if they can buy their books for less elsewhere.
Students who need financial aid or scholarship dollars to pay for their textbooks can apply that directly to the fee.
Saving students a total, UH reports, of $10.2 million this school year. Many colleges nationwide are rolling out similar programs, while libraries across the country are offering more digital resources utilizing what's called OER, Open Educational Resources, learning materials that are either in the public domain or have been released under a license to be freely used, changed, or shared. OER is aimed at removing the cost barrier that can prevent some students from accessing education.
OER helps to lower the price of the program, right? So right now our price is $299. We don't want it to stay at $299. We want it to go lower. And the more faculty take on lower cost books, including OER, the better chance it will have of lowering that overall price for students.
Avalos says CTEP has freed up both his money and his time.
Super convenient that I can log in anywhere. I was traveling not too long ago and I just brought my laptop and I was able to do my reading.
So many other colleges offer books through OER or open access programs, including the University of Texas, Texas A&M, Rice University, and Houston Community College. So I've linked to their OER programs on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. Okay, so heads up for coffee drinkers, especially if you like decaf. Lawmakers in California are proposing a ban on decaf coffee. Yeah. They say a chemical used in the decaffeinating process is linked to several cancers. Coffee makers say it is completely washed off the beans, though, after treatment, and any remnants are burned off during roasting. But a 2020 study by the consumer group Clean Label Project found 10 out of 25 decaf brands they tested contained the chemical. If this legislation clears, California will ban all decaf coffee using this chemical by the year 2027. We'll see what happens. And in closing today, an UGG is launching a new shoe and it is sparking a debate online. The shoe is a slipper sneaker hybrid with the brand's classic box stitch design and supportive soles. Many are calling the shoe ugly, but several celebrities have already embraced it, including Gigi Hadid and Saltburn star Barry Keoghan. The shoes sell for $150. The ugly shoe started with the rise of Crocs and Birkenstocks. I'm on the the cute shoe bandwagon. I'm going to stick with those. But that's our show. Please let me know any ideas you have on Insta, Facebook, or X. It's all Heather Sullivan, Fox 26. And you'll find more ways to save on Sullivan Smart Cents on fox26houston.com. And we'll see you next time right here on Dollars and Cents.